Hello, everyone. Today, I would like to talk about email etiquette. Before I get into this topic, I would like to explain why we need email etiquette. Computers are magnificent tools for the realization of our dreams, but no machine can replace the human spark of spirit, compassion, love, and understanding. Email is possibly one of the greatest inventions of our lifetime. It's having a phenomenal effect on the way we communicate, but not always for the better. Reading, writing, and managing email is taking an increasing amount of our time. However, research shows that the major cause of email stress is not its volume, but its inappropriate use as a communication tool. We are using email to communicate with friends and families as well as with business contacts, both at home and overseas. In our personal email, perhaps we can relax standards a little, but emailing for business has reached a new dimension. People whose jobs never used to involve writing skills are now finding themselves replying to dozens of emails every day. Most of us comment about the increasing quantity of messages we receive and the pressure we are under to respond quickly. But when we are under such pressure, what happens to the quality of the messages we exchange? Now, let's look at the top 10 lazy email habits. Number 1, using a vague or outdated subject line. Your subject line should be brief and should give the essence of the content of the messages. Number 2, not using a greeting or sign off. It's important to remember the simple courtesies of an appropriate greeting and sign off. Number 3, not proofreading. Proofread carefully, especially when emailing from your phone. Number 4, using abbreviations or acronyms. You may think these will save time, but they can lead to confusion for readers. For example, for some people, FYA could mean for your approval, but for others, it can mean for your action. Number 5, using the wrong case. In the world of email, using capital letters is equivalent to shouting. This is seen as rude and annoying, and it should not be necessary even to put a subject line in capital letters. Number 6, not thinking about who really needs to see the message. Think carefully before you click reply all, and think carefully before you send courtesy copies. Send messages to everyone who needs to know, not to everyone you know. Number 7, writing everything in one long paragraph. When I receive an email that's all one huge paragraph, it's impossible to focus. to pick out the main points, to find any action items, or to respond effectively. Number 8. Vague messages with details missing. People often find it difficult to figure out what action is needed. Email messages are often sent in such a rush that the writer does not plan the messages beforehand and makes no effort to structure it properly. Other writers ramble on in long-winded epistles that miss the point altogether. Make it easier for your readers by structuring your messages logically and by leaving a blank line between your short paragraphs. Number 9. Using unfriendly tone. It is very difficult to convey emotions in our writing. This often gets people into trouble because they type out exactly what they would say without thinking of the tone of voice that would be used to signal their emotions. Number 10. Messages that are just plain sloppy. Sending out messages with spelling, punctuation, or grammatical errors is a sure way to lower your credibility. Remember that your messages give an impression of your company and of you as an individual. Make sure it is a good impression by taking as much care when composing an email message as you would with a formal letter. Now let's look at the top 10 tips for making the most of email. Number 1. Turn off your email alert. Someone once told me that every time they receive a new email, their email alert shouts, "Yabba dabba doo," just like in the Flintstones. Whether you have a pin, a clan, a bond, or a yabba dabba doo, for goodness sake, turn it off occasionally. Don't let email take over your life. When you have an important project to work on, switch off your instant messaging system. Many people are now realizing the value of doing this in being able to focus better, and some are checking mail just 2 or 3 times a day. Number 2. Respond to messages promptly. Once you have read an email, it's common courtesy to reply promptly. If you are pushed for time and cannot reply immediately, don't feel compelled to do so. This will only result in a rushed message, perhaps mistakes, and it may not be as detailed or effective as it could be. Instead, send a quick note saying you will get back to the writer soon with a more considered response. This way, the writer knows you have received the message and are dealing with it. Number 3. Think carefully about your subject heading by making it specific, meaningful, appropriate, relevant, and thoughtful. This should give the recipient a good idea of the contents of the message. and will make for easier handling and filing. Don't use subject lines like inquiry or help needed. These are less than useless and may not be read by a busy person scanning the subject lines quickly. Remember the acronym SMART for our subject lines. So they are specific, meaningful, appropriate, relevant, and thoughtful. Number 4. Keep caps lock off. Capitals are difficult to read. They indicate shouting and can appear threatening. And also don't use lots of exclamation marks. Also, please don't use lowercase letters with abbreviations and acronyms. If you write in this way, you are thought of as lazy and not businesslike. Number 5. Get your greetings and closing right. Try to avoid overuse of the very boring regards, or worse still, abbreviations like thanks and regards. Formality doesn't read well in email. Replace formal salutations like Dear Pat with informal Hi Pat or even just Pat. Similarly, replace yours sincerely with best wishes or even cheers. Try to avoid overuse of the very boring regards, or worse still, abbreviations like thanks and regards. Think of something novel and different if you must. Here are some nice ones I have seen recently. Over to you, to your success, cheery greetings, your friend, take care, until next time, take it easy, smiles. Number 6. Send a courtesy copy to those who need to know, not to everyone you know. If you are suffering from overflowing inboxes, how much of it is self-inflicted? Has it become too easy to send messages to lots of people just because you can? We must learn to use email more thoughtfully by recognizing when we should and should not send messages. Do you really need to send all those courtesy copies, blind courtesy copies, and forward copies? If you receive lots of messages that you don't really need to see, tell the authors so that it doesn't happen again. Number 7. Check your message carefully and get it right first time. There's no second chance with emails. Once you hit send, it will be in the recipient's mailbox within seconds. Number 8. Do regular housekeeping by deleting or filing your sent and read messages so as to keep your system fast and efficient. Again, delete or file your sent and read messages so as to keep your system fast and efficient. Do your filing and deleting regularly. Set up filters on your email systems so that messages are automatically sent to different folders according to the sender and the subject matter. Filters will also delete unwanted messages, and some will highlight key messages with priority codes or colors. Number 9. Take pride in your message. When composing on screen, it is easy to allow sentences to become very long. Make an effort to keep sentences short and simple, and check your syntax. The more pride you take in your message composition, the more successful you will be in being understood and achieving the desired results. Number 10. Don't panic. You can always pick up the phone when prolonged email exchange does not solve the problems. Have you ever been involved in a prolonged email exchange that lasts for days? Wouldn't it be better to pick up the phone? It's a sure fact that email overload is contributing to a decline in oral communication skills. People are sending emails to the person in the next office rather than walking a few steps. Remember that it's good to talk, and don't let email result in the death of conversation.